Good day, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on IoT trends, predictions, and use cases. Let us look at some of the IoT trends. But before that, let us understand what is IoT and what is at the heart of IoT. At the heart of IoT are things with sensors that can sense and that can communicate. So basically, we are talking about sensors that not only sense but have a capability to communicate whatever they have sensed, ideally to a cloud system. Because when sensors give data, you need a system that can take in all the data that the sensor generates. Hence, at the heart of IoT are things in which sensors are embedded, and these can sense and communicate. In our mobile phones, there are multiple sensors. There is a proximity sensor, there is an accelerometer. In our Fitbits, smartwatches, there are sensors which sense our pulse rate. There are bulbs which can sense the intensity of light around it and can decide how intensely it should glow or not. There are cows which have sensors in it. So we are going to talk about this use case of a connected cow later in this webinar. When we speak of IoT, the question comes, should we really care about IoT? The answer is yes. The answer is yes, not because IoT is a great technology. Of course, IoT is a wonderful technology, but primarily because all the companies that are mentioned here and otherwise, be it Cisco, IBM, Google, GE, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, everybody is investing billions and billions of dollars into IoT. It is in their benefit that IoT becomes hugely popular and adapted by the world over. So their products and services will sell like anything when IoT applications and services are sold. Cisco is mainly into infrastructure, IBM into software products, Google with smart devices, and G with use cases in utilities, energy, water, electricity, all of these utilities is being taken care by GE. And they have their own predicts software and analytics software, which is based on IoT data gathering. So all these companies are investing heavily into IoT, as a result of which it is imperative that all of us will be drawn into IoT at some point or another. So what are the trends and why should one pay attention to these trends? One, new business models are emerging. One of the examples that I often give are big shoe companies like Nike, for example. They are embedding sensors into their shoes. And along with the sensors, when you buy a shoe, you will now get a mobile app. So after you have worn the shoe, whatever activities you do, you get information and insights about your activities as well as recommendations on your mobile app. So slowly and steadily, Nike's business model is moving apart from shoes into healthcare. Similarly, there are a lot of other such business models that are emerging because of sensors and sensor-based applications. One should be aware of that. New technologies. When we talk about IoT, there is no standardization. So everybody is building their own technology, their own analytics platform, their own IoT services, their own IoT applications, and all these on top of technologies that are very proprietary to the companies that are building them. Hence, it leads obviously to more opportunities, but also to certain challenges. There are growing IoT services and applications. Who would have thought that Nike will come up with a software application with their shoe? Similarly, there are so many such hardware or product manufacturers who are looking at services and applications to augment their revenue. So there will be a huge, if you buy let's say a washing machine or a refrigerator or any device, you will inevitably be working with some application that will give rise to services revenue for these companies. Especially in the IT industry and more so in India, IoT is fueling the next growth of IT services because everybody is investing in IoT. There is a lot of demand in writing IoT code, in writing IoT applications, in creating new services. So for engineering students, IoT is really or kind of the next growth engine in IT. IoT not only creates jobs with respect to sensors and creating of IoT services, but it will create more jobs in cloud, in mobile, in mobility, in analytics. Because when sensors generate data, this data needs to be stored on the cloud. From the cloud, it will be analyzed. If they're analyzed, it needs to be showcased onto a mobile app. So when IoT becomes more and more dominant, it results in multiple jobs created across different areas. So these are some of the key trends with respect to IoT and its impact on our lives. Let us look at some of the IoT predictions that are expected to change the world we live in. It is expected that by 2020, there will be roughly 50 billion connected objects. So if you do a rough calculation, by 2020, it is expected that the population of the world will be around 7.5 billion. So by that estimate, it's roughly 7 connected objects per person. Now my take on this is maybe 50 billion may be an overkill in terms of numbers, but we are definitely looking at 30 to 35 billion in terms of connected objects by 2020. It is said that if you save 1% of air fuel, the jet fuel that aeroplanes use, globally, it can result into a savings of 30 billion US dollars per year. So if that is the amount of savings we are expecting from 1% of fuel that gets saved, can you imagine the investment that will be made in creating IoT products, IoT services to save that 1% of fuel? And if you go from 1% of fuel to 2% of fuel, that number is just enormous. As a result of which, there are a lot of companies, GE, IBM, which are investing heavily in IoT products, in IoT services, in IoT applications to create that small change which results in huge dollar figures. The same thing is said about the logistics area. If you save 1% of fuel, the gasoline, it results in $27 billion saved. 1% of energy wastage, if you avoid, 66 billion. Actual fuel, 90 billion. So the numbers are tremendous. If you save, if you invest in IoT, you can see a lot of return on investment. So what do we get because of IoT? We get informed products that will be able to tell more about themselves. One of the most popular use cases that comes to mind is Tetra Pak milk that we use. There are sensors which can tell the person who has bought that Tetra Pak whether the milk inside it is good or it has turned sour, which can then be used to avoid giving it to infants or to small children if the milk is really not up to the mark. So products themselves will raise alarms if they go bad. This also results in lot of predictive maintenance products or big infrastructural machines which can predict beforehand that they are going to go bad. We have informed people like us, we get all the analytics, we get all the insights, and we can make our own decisions. Processes get informed so that the fault is not identified after the process is complete, but during the process, as a result of which either the process can be stopped or it can be corrected at that very instance to avoid wastage that happens if a wrong process is allowed to continue. We also get informed infrastructure, two ways of looking at it. For example, routers or base stations know when exactly to radiate at a higher intensity, when exactly to reduce the intensity. Other way of looking at it is the fans, the lights, the other infrastructure that we use in our daily life. They will know when they should switch on and when they should switch off. So you get informed products, informed people, informed processes, and informed infrastructure. It is expected that by 2020, IoT will be a $50 billion industry. So there is a lot of money at stake, not only for the bigger companies which are making the platforms and the tools available, but also for the smaller companies which are using these platforms, these tools to then create services and applications that can augment their revenue. So IoT, there is something for all the players, whether it's a telecom vendor, whether it is a device manufacturer, whether it is a manufacturing company, whether it is an automobile company, whether it is an high-tech technology company, there is something for everybody in this industry. And no wonder that it is expected to be a $50 billion industry in just a few years from now. Let us look at some of the use cases that are that can change our perception about IoT and its applications. Let's start with some easy ones. The first one is home automation. It is said that a typical US house has at least 17 sensors within the house. So, just at the beginning, we were talking about 7 connected objects per person. And you probably might think, 7 objects is a little too much for individual person. But if you look at an average home in the US, it basically says that the Western world is far ahead of the number 7 per person. You have door sensors. It is said that these days door knobs do not have keys. Door knobs will identify you based on biosensors. So only if the owners of the house put their hand on the door knobs, the knob will turn and the door will open. The garage doors will open only if the car of the house is in front of it. They will do some handshake, sensors will talk to each other, and the garage door will open, the car will go in, and the garage door will close. Nobody will be able to break open the garage door unless the door is talking to the car itself. There is a mailbox sensor. Whenever there is a new mail, it will intimate the house owner that the mail has come. And if it's a digital mail, it will also say from whom it has come, when it has come, and so on. There are light sensors all around the house. There are motion sensors all around the house. There are HVAC controls all around the house. Security systems all around the house. Lawn moisture sensor to let know the exact time when you want to mow the lawn. So if you see, there are so many applications or services that can be fitted in a normal house in the Western world with the help of sensors. Let's look at the next common thing that a person in most developed countries own, a car. A car is fitted with lot of sensors. So what will happen is if by chance there is an accident, the sensors will tell their story, to the insurance companies as what exactly happened for the crash to happen. So insurance companies would not have to have investigators to find out if the claim is genuine or not. The car itself will be telling them whether the claim is genuine or not. Again, one of the other use cases in the automobile industry has been to come up with individual premiums. So when you have so many sensors, individual premiums help in finding out what is the best premium that should be applied to the person. When I get a chance in one of my other webinars, I will talk about this use case in a lot more detail. This is one of my favorite examples, a very high profile global uh, FMCG company which manufactures ice creams and it sells them through the retail stores, especially in countries like India and China, where people choose their ice creams from the cabinet and they make a payment to the store owner, generally a mom and pop store owner. In countries like India, the store owners have a tendency, to switch off the cabinet in the night because it helps them save electricity and helps them save money on their electricity bills. What happens when they switch off the cabinet is that the ice cream melts. When they switch on the cabinet again the next day, the ice cream forms. And if the ice cream goes through this process a few times, the ice cream ultimately becomes bad. Now, when retail customers don't buy such ice cream because they can sense it, the store owners return the ice cream back to the FMCG company. It's a huge loss in terms of return sales, and the FMCG company cannot do anything about it. So what did they do? They installed sensors which can detect the flow of electricity, the flow of current, and as soon as the cabinet is switched off purposefully, the sensors will know from the spike that it is not an abrupt cut, but it is a planned or purposefully done uh, 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 shutdown of electricity. It notifies the same to the FMCG company. After that, if the store owner goes with return goods, his details are checked, and if he's found to be one of those culprits who has purposefully switched off the cabinets, his goods will not be taken back because the store owners are contractually bound for not switching off these cabinets ever. With this FMCG company saved 45 million US dollars per year. If they are saving, the question is, if they are saving so much money per year, don't you think they will invest 10, 15, 20 million dollars in setting this system up and maintaining it year on year if they are getting this return on investment? This is precisely what I was telling earlier. IoT solutions and applications are not finding favor because it's a great technology, but because it is resulting in a return on investment. Another of the companies has completely changed the model on which it works with tires. This huge tire company does not sell tires anymore, it rents them out. So if you rent their tires, you will get a monthly invoice depending upon the number of kilometers your tire has revolved. Thus, it is a saving of capex for the customer. For the tire company, it is monthly bills, better predictable cash flows, better business, more shareholders happy, overall better business model. So sensors in tires have changed or are changing the business model on which tire companies operate. Again, here Continental is just for example, but this use case is valid across all airlines. Most of the airline delays happen due to technical snags that happen or are detected at the last moment. If you have IoT enabled devices, IoT enabled machines, IoT enabled equipment, there is something that is called predictive maintenance. These devices, this equipment will know beforehand that something is going wrong. They will immediately notify the control room that they need attention. So the engineer knows beforehand what things to correct, as a result of which the last minute technical snags have reduced for airlines. Better predictability, insurance companies also happy, customers also happy. Airlines also happy. This is actually a very interesting use case. In one of the other webinars, I might talk in depth on how airline industry is benefiting hugely from IoT devices. It turns unscheduled maintenance and periodic maintenance into optimally scheduled maintenance, thereby saving lots and lots of dollars for everybody involved in the airline industry. One of the important use cases, which is a particular favorite of mine, is the connected cow. The connected cow helps us. So if you see on the topmost left picture, there is a sensor that's attached to the leg of the cow. So a part of it is also pierced into the leg. It then monitors the blood of the cow, all the parameters of the cow, the health of the cow, as a result of which, if something is going wrong with the cow in terms of its health, the owners and even the doctors are immediately notified before the cow can fall sick. Things can be rectified, the cow can be given treatment and brought back to normal health much sooner than otherwise. As a result of which, not only the cow is healthy, happy, and the owners are happy, but the cow continues to give healthy, fat milk, which is of great economic value to the owners of the cow. Again, this is a use case which has been successfully implemented in most developed countries and also in developing countries like India. If just the use case of connected cow becomes prevalent in every village of India, there will be a much better prosperity for the farmers and the owners of the cows. So you can register for more information, tips, tricks, newsletters on my website, digitaldojo.in. I have a Facebook page, facebook.com/digitaldojo.in. You can like and share. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on my LinkedIn page. You're also welcome to connect with me on my personal Facebook page, LinkedIn page, or on my personal website. With this, I feel that you would have got more insights into the trends, predictions, and use cases of IoT. I would like to say thank you very much. Thank you for your time and catch up with you sometime soon. Thank you.